Greenland says it would choose Denmark over the United States ahead of crunch White House talks on the future of the Arctic island, which President Trump has repeatedly threatened in recent days. Well, in the last hour or so, we've heard from Greenland's Minister for Business, who's been briefing MPs here in the UK. So have a listen to that, first of all.
We feel betrayed. We feel that the rhetoric is offensive, as we have said it many times before, but also bewildering, because we have done nothing but support the notion that Greenland is a part of the American national affair of interest. We recognize this and have done so for many decades. So we are an ally, and so are Denmark. We are allies of the US, and of course we are bewildered that now I have to have a press conference discussing a possible annexation or selling of Greenland. So for us, this is not something we sought. This is not something I think we deserved. I think we have been good partners.
Well, let's go live to Greenland, to our Europe editor, Katja Adler. And Katja, you've been there for a number of days. Just give me a general thought, first of all, a sense of what Greenlanders make of everything, the noise they've heard from Washington.
It's a really good question, especially when you say the word noise. This is the biggest island in the world, but it is a quiet, silent island of ice. There are only 57,000 people that live here, mainly along the coast. There are no roads that connect the different sort of towns on Iceland. They're used to just getting on with their lives quietly, and suddenly what people tell us here is they're under this huge international spotlight with this existential threat they feel. A threat that has not been ruled out by the Trump administration, and that they could take this island by force. Donald Trump says he can do it the hard way or he can do it the easy way. Now, of course, everyone here is glued to their seats to find out how Wednesday's meeting, tomorrow's meeting, is going to go with the Vice President and the US Secretary of State. There will be representation from Greenland and of course from Denmark, because Greenland is a semi-autonomous territory of Denmark's, and as such it's Denmark that decides foreign policy and security policy here as well. There is a lot of tension between the Danes and the Greenlandic people, often because here the majority desire is to become independent eventually. But when it comes to this current situation, they sit together with this one message for the United States. Greenland is not for sale. It is not going to be ripped away from Denmark, and European allies have stood by Denmark in this to say that this is sovereign territory and that's something that the US needs to respect. Of course, this comes into a much bigger context, because at the end of the day, Europe needs the United States inside NATO and just generally for its defence and security, and to remain on site over Ukraine as well. So there is a lot at stake here: diplomacy, politics, yes, and just day-to-day anxiety here for Greenlanders.
And of course, the Danish Prime Minister was absolutely clear last week, wasn't she? She said that if there was some sort of military action to take Greenland, that would be the end of NATO. No ifs or buts. You used the quote from Donald Trump, "We can do this the easy way or the hard way." Is there alarm there that the potential is this could be done the hard way with some sort of military option taken?
So, Matthew, this isn't the first time that Donald Trump has expressed an interest or a desire to have Greenland. It goes back to his first time as president back in 2019. But at the time, honestly, behind closed doors, it wasn't taken seriously, neither here in Greenland nor way over in Europe, in the European capitals. But after Donald Trump's military action in Venezuela, which shocked the world, if you like, nobody is laughing anymore. So even though it's not thought a likely option that the United States would go for, nobody can rule it out altogether. And it's interesting that just in the last hours, this meeting that was supposed to be with the US Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, who is reported to have said to fellow lawmakers, we're not looking at the military option, is now being taken over by the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, who is seen as much more hardline. Is that significant or not? At the moment, of course, nobody knows. But, you know, the spirit of this meeting will be so important. Is the US administration coming to this meeting tomorrow in the spirit of compromise or confrontation with a maximalist demand? Greenland needs to be ours or else. And of course, we don't know right now.
Just briefly on that, dilemma of which way this goes tomorrow. What is a compromise? Is it clear what an option that could be offered to the United States that has any sort of traction?
You say briefly, I wish I could be. It's very complex here, of course. What Donald Trump says is, if the US doesn't take Greenland, then China or Russia will. So he's framing this very much in security terms. Don't forget that even though this territory is a semi-autonomous territory of Denmark in Europe, geographically, Greenland is part of North America. So if Donald Trump's desire is to secure Greenland better, then NATO allies, you've heard particularly from Germany and the UK, are saying, we'll beef up NATO security here. Don't worry, we can do this together with you, United States. So that could be taken care of. But if actually Donald Trump's desire is to have Greenland also for other reasons, for example, the rich natural resources here, rare earths and minerals that every global power wants right now. The melting of the ice here opens up lucrative trade routes as well eventually. Is it more about that and a more expansionist idea to make America greater in size and dominance? If that is the reason, then that is going to be a lot harder to push back against the Americans. And again, there is a big question mark over all of that, and we will find out more tomorrow in that meeting.
Katya, we will leave it there for now.